immigration workplace raids and immigration I-9 inspections. This is Joseph Patrick Murphy. Many of you have been following my posts over the last couple of weeks about I-9 inspections, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a longer format video here to explain what an I-9 even is. Many employers don't even know what they are, and they haven't been keeping them, and it's important that you keep them. If you get caught without I-9 compliance, you can be in relatively big trouble. So let's go a little bit into the background of what an I-9 is. I've got some notes here. It's called Form I-9. It's a USCIS, that's our immigration service, a USCIS form. Its official title is Employment Eligibility Verification, used to verify the identity and the legal authorization to work of all paid employees in the United States. U.S. employers must ensure proper completion of Form I-9 for each individual at hire for employment in the United States. This is a rather old thing. It came about during the Reagan administration. The 1986 Immigration Reform and Control Act requires employers to verify that all newly hired employees presented facially valid documentation verifying the employee's identity and legal authorization to accept employment. That's on the Form I-9. Now, I-9, when you have this new, it applies to every employee hired after November 6, 1986. If you've been working since before that date, I think we can give you a break on this stuff. Now look, I'm not encouraging anybody to break the law, but here's the thing. There are 3 lists on the form, and this is the documentation. List A are documents that prove both the person's identity and their authorization to work. Things like a U.S. passport, passport card, a green card, a temporary resident card. There's some other unusual exemptions toward the bottom of List A. I'm not going to go into those. List B are documents to it. So if you have any document on List A, that worker's good. It doesn't matter what else they have. If they've got any document on List A, that's enough to work in the United States. If they don't have any List A documents, then they need to have at least one from List B and at least one from List C. List B are things that establish identity, like a driver's license issued by one of the U.S. states, a federal identification card, a school ID card with photograph, or an armed service identification card. They also list voter registration card and some other, again, exotic things that aren't important in this video. You can look at the form yourself. And then when we get to List C are things that establish the ability to be employed in the United States. And one of the most important things is to understand that when they're using a Social Security card for List C, it has to look just like a regular Social Security card. It can't have any extra language that isn't on the normal Social Security cards that citizens get. Examples of the extra language: all capitals, not valid for employment, or valid for work only with INS authorization, or valid for work only with DHS authorization. If it says any of those, it's no good for List C. Other List C documents: certificate of U.S. citizenship, a certificate of naturalization, and then there's some other, again, exotic examples. You can look at the form yourself. But you need to have the I-9 at hire, and you need to take down at least one List A document, or at least one List B document and one List C document. If you don't have I-9s on your employees, you've got to get these things going. And the reason why is because immigration is conducting workplace inspections. They stop by the office and they drop off an I-9 inspection notice, and you're required to give them copies of all the I-9s for everybody working there. You're also required to give them all sorts of financial information about your business, Form 941, wage and payroll statements. So they're going to find out if you have people in there that don't have the matching I-9. So take my advice and get the I-9s on your employees. My name is Joseph Patrick Murphy. I'm an immigration attorney at Allegheny Immigration Group. I help workers that are charged intentionally or unintentionally with violating this law, and I can help you get in compliance. So if a workplace inspection notice is dropped off, you'll pass. Joseph Patrick Murphy with Allegheny Immigration Group. Telephone number is 412-521-2000. My cell, text, WhatsApp, and Viber are all the same number, 412-973-3442. Workplaces commonly get raided later in the week, okay? So this is Friday, you might see some today. They get raided at unusual hours. Sometimes the employer isn't even there, the manager isn't there, and it takes a few minutes for the workplace to get their bearings. You may need to call me after hours or on a weekend. Joseph Patrick Murphy, Allegheny Immigration Group, 412-973-3442. That number rings right through to me. I'll be happy to take your call, even on the weekends, even after hours. You're going to have a short time zone or time frame to respond in, so don't wait till Monday morning to call me. If you've got an inspection notice, we're going to need to move quickly. Well, let's talk about some other interesting trivia with regard to the I-9. You have to re-verify. So you want to keep records of when the documents that they've given you to prove these things expire. And you're going to have to prove that they've got a new one after it expires. If there's a work permit being used to prove the ability to work in the United States, work permits have an expiration date. You've got to make a note. And when you start getting near that work permit expiration date, probably in your interest to remind the employee to go get a new work permit. That way they'll have it and they won't be out of legal status to work. Because the legal status to work really includes having an I-9 on file. Even for a citizen, if you've got a regular U.S. citizen perfectly authorized to work, no problems whatsoever, but there's no I-9, you're still going to get a fine for that. So you have to have the I-9s. If you need help preparing the I-9s, if you need help auditing your compliance, give me a call. Joseph Patrick Murphy, Allegheny Immigration Group, 412-521-2000 is my office. 412-973-3442 is my cell. There's also a fairly vibrant social media presence if you want to look around at your YouTubes, TikToks, Instagrams. They're all called Allegheny Immigration Group. This is Joseph Patrick Murphy representing employers in I-9 inspections and in I-9 compliance. Joseph Patrick Murphy, Allegheny Immigration Group, 412-521-2000 is the office. 412-973-3442 is my cell. This is Joseph Patrick Murphy with Allegheny Immigration Group. Thank you for watching.